Yes, and we are live. Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you here at MUSC Red Devils NCR. This is Delvin, and as we know that we've begun the second half of the season, and we have started the season in arguably the best possible way. Two games, two clean sheets, two positive results, two victories, and not much that we can ask for. And things are pretty rosy on the red half of Manchester so far, and here's the hope is that this continues and up until the end of the season and even further forward. So today I have with me a couple of guests with me. I have Ojas Bhai and Weber with me. Good evening, gentlemen. Hope you gents are doing well. Yeah. So, a comfortable win against Nottingham Forest with as complete a team performance as we've seen under the manager. Uh, it seems that the philosophy that Ten Hag has been trying to preach finally has been bought in by all the players, and each of them making each other look good. So this is something that we haven't seen in the United side for a long period of time. But finally, now we have players who are making others look good, as well as masking the minor cracks which were there. So overall, nothing much to complain for. But now our focus is on to the next game. The games are coming in thick and fast, and we face Wolves next. Uh, Wolves have been somewhat of a tricky opposition for us in the recent past. We've had mixed fortunes with them. Even if we have won games against them, it's always been by a one goal margin, not more. We have not had a convincing victory against them, as in like a 2-0 or 3-0 or a 4-0, like you know what a convincing victory is. So, Weber, let's start with you. So Wolves new manager. The last game they had a last gasp victory against Everton with the last minute winner. So what do you make about this Wolves side, and what exactly do you feel? How much of a challenge with this which will this Wolves side pose to us Saturday?
Hi Dylan. Hello everyone. I hope you all had a nice Christmas. I think this game is very crucial for us, right? If we talk about momentum in these Premier League matches, right? It's very important for us to have that momentum. I think games like Wolves, which tend to be a mid-table team, could be very very crucial, right? Because you see this year the top four race is relentless. You've literally got four teams competing together for that fourth spot or the third spot. So this game is very, very crucial. I think Wolves, they are a very, very watertight team. As I've said, I mean, they do not let goals in. They're very, very hard to play. The defense is very hard to break. Moutinho and Ruben Neves are really very good. I'm not sure if Cody Gakpo is fit in the back line because in the previous match, I think the Collins and Clement played. So I'm not sure about so I'm not sorry. What was that guy's name? Connor Cody. Connor
He's
Cody.
he's currently on loan at Everton, Weber, so he's not part of the Wolves team anymore.
Oh,
He's currently on
oh,
loan at Everton. Yeah.
Someone
Oh,
did not get
sorry.
over the
I
transfer to
was
Liverpool.
seems like I cannot get over the Cody Gakpo fiasco. I mean, that kind of ran to all over. I think, look, um, I quite like that guy Huang, the South Korean guy. He's quite quick, and I think he can pose a threat, with his speed and with his pace. He can come up and maybe hit a goal on the break. Um, it's going to be a test, right? But what I feel is different than the previous games you talk about. We had previously we had we had very very tired games. But you need to understand previously we had a manager in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who literally preferred his favorites, right? Right now, Eric Ten Hag, I feel, would do well, and I think we can win at least 2-0 in this game, is because he would play the players who deserve to play, right? It's not that he would parachute Maguire into the team. He would parachute Scott McTominay or Fred for that matter. It's not like that. When you have a team like Licha is back. When you have a team like Martinez and maybe Dallo could be back. If maybe Dallo could be back, and you have the midfield of Casemiro, as we saw in the previous game, how good he was. I'm a bit worried about the attack, but I think Rashford's form and the confidence which he's keeping right now could be the difference. So, I mean, it will be a tough game, but I'm going for a 2-0 United win because of the tactical masterclass of Eric Ten Hag, which he's shown till now.
Fair enough. We have some really good insights. You've spoken about the fact that not compared to the United sides of last, there are no players who've been parachuted in just for the sake of it or to make up the numbers or something like that, which is obviously a step in the right direction, considering the fact that the overall change is yet to be fully manifested under Eric Ten Hag. But the signs are visible that we are going to a right path and the process is correct. So, Ojal bhai, we'll move on to the next segment. Weber spoke about Dallo perhaps making a comeback. Now, we know that Dallo has had a knock and he wasn't there in the past two games. But in his absence, Aaron Wan-Bissaka has made a very good comeback. I mean, for all this while he was out in the cold, we were all certain that he was going to find a new club in January. It could still be the case. Don't get me wrong. There could still be a plausible scenario where Aaron Wan-Bissaka could go out away from Man United in search of game time or whatever it is. But in these past two games, uh, he's shown those qualities that Ten Hag needs. I mean, he looked much more confident with the ball at his feet. He was much more progressive when it came to carrying the ball forward. And the most surprising improvement of all is that he's finally learned how to cross, or he's found his crossing boots again. Because let's be honest, the assist that he gave for Ericsson was a thing of beauty. I mean,
Yes.
running and then going at full stretch and then making sure that you reach the ball and then delivering that pinpoint ball for Ericsson to just tap in an empty net. I think he deserves a lot of credit. And even in the game against Nottingham Forest, he put in a couple of beautiful balls. I think the Malasia chance came from an Aaron Wan-Bissaka cross in the first place. So I, for once, have been a massive fan of Aaron Wan-Bissaka ever since he's come in. I mean, no one over here will debate his supreme 1v1 defending and his ability to win the ball back with such ease. I mean, it's hilarious how easily he manages to win the ball. But over the past year or so, the fact that he was one dimensional got him found out on many levels. But do you think this is the resurgence of Van Bissaka in United? And based on this performance, I mean, we have always seen that Eric Ten Hag rewards players based on form and merit. So, do you think that Dallo immediately slots into this side? Or do you think Aaron Van Bissaka will still hold his place come the Wolves game on Saturday?
Uh, I may be wrong, but I don't think Delo is 100% fit for the Bulls game. I can be wrong about that. And the truth about the internal matters of the club right now is that the executives are planning a sale for Aaron Van Bissaka, and agents of Van Bissaka are already talking with the player and the potential clubs, because Manchester United board, the people sitting above Ten Hag, have decided to cash on his sale and invest in a new right back along with other things that are required in the club. But uh, if right now I am in the seat of the Fletcher or the Murtaugh, whoever is doing this, I would like to point out that how bleak our team already is. Like, you have signed a very good player 3 years, I'm not sure how long ago, and just without giving him the right opportunity to show his uh, potential, we can say skill, we can say the performances, because he was out for a long time. He was, I think, going through an injury,
Yes,
and
he was injured, yeah.
yeah, right now I think if there is some thinking on this decision, Van Bissaka deserves a chance. But to be fair, he's a very good player. But if I'm getting 30 to 40, uh, that is very tough to get. But if I'm getting the money for him, maybe the sale will go through. And see, I am reading a lot on Twitter that our squad is really bleak. Actually, we are not short of the quantity of the players; we're short of the quality of the players.
Exactly, precisely, yes.
Yes. So, like, I was just planning what a squad really looks like. Like, we have a Lindelof and Maguire sitting at the bench, two very good CBs who are first choice for the national team. We have to keep a tab on that. And we have Lisandro Martinez and Rafa Varane, two world-class centre-backs again. So that completes the centre-back unit. We have Van Bissaka, a very good backup to Dello. He has showed in these games. We have Shaw and Malaysia. Like, I think one of the best combinations of experience and young on the left back. We have Garnacho, Sancho, Rashford, Anthony on wings. Okay, and we have midfield of Donny. Like, I am talking about the backup, Donny, Fred, and McTominay sitting on the bench. We have Casemiro, Ericsson, and Bruno playing. So yes, we need a striker, but if Ronaldo saga didn't happen, like Ronaldo and Marshall are there. So it's not the we don't have the players. We just don't have the right players. And if club is in a situation where they cannot purchase new players, I think the people that are paying the wages to their current players need to tell them that you have to step up for the club. You have to step up for the team, because right now you are our only option in backups. We cannot trade in or trade out because the club is in a phase of sale. So that is, I would come back to the main point, that is why I think selling Bisaka so that you can get some potential amount of good money, but weakening your option. You cannot trust a new you may never know what a new right back will produce, but right now you know what Van Bissaka can do. He is proven in the Premier League. He's not like playing first time in the Premier League. He's proven in the Premier League and he is a good backup. I think we can wait till summer to sell Bisaka. Maybe he puts very good performances and the value goes higher also.
Yeah, so all in all, you're basically saying that Van Bissaka should be given a chance, irrespective of whether new owners come in or no. So I totally agree on that point. But there is another reason why I want him to do well is because there is always something appealing about a redemption story, especially when you put in one of arguably your best performances not even 2 years ago. Not even 2 years means I think it's almost 2 years to the day where Van Bissaka single-handedly put Neymar and Mbappe in his back
See,
pocket in Paris.
Delvin, by see the what happened in summer was that Ten Hag came into the management and he said, "I want these players to play for my team." And somehow, when he looked up to the players like Brandon Williams and Bisaka, they were not fit enough to for training and everything. So as a manager, my thinking is that I need players at that position and I need the replacement quick. So that was the reason. Even Eric Ten Hag mentions in its interview also that when I came into this club, the Bisaka and the Williams were facing long term injuries. That is why I think there is this gap of communication between the player and the manager.
Fair enough, yeah. So I was talking about the fact that everyone loves a redemption story, and maybe Van Bissaka would be one of the players who would give us arguably one of the best redemption stories that we have ever seen from a United player. And we genuinely hope that it is the case because I would love to see him succeed for once under new management. So we have a lot of people on chat. Do keep your opinions flowing. We want the stream to be as interactive as possible. Rohit bhai, hello, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Vishal bhai, same to you. I hope you're doing well as well. We all are good. Thanks, all grace to God. I hope you're doing well too, and hope you're having a good holiday season. Kushagra says, what a start Ten Hag has had at United. 23 games, 16 wins, 17%, 70% win success. Obviously, a very great start, but once again, the job is not yet fully finished. We need to keep the momentum going. We need to keep getting these results if we want to stand a chance come April, come May. Rohit Bhai says, new manager for Wolves, honeymoon period. I mean, yes, new manager, but then again, that in the current state of football, I've not seen a lot of new managers having that manager bounce where you see teams winning 4, 5, 6 games on the bounce. I mean, almost every single manager has had a very bumpy start to life in a new club. So let's hope that it's the same. Vishal Bhai says United versus Portugal next game. Oh yes, I forgot about that. Wolves being mini Portugal in the Black Country in England. That's a rather interesting proposition. So yeah, Sandeep, my next question to you on similar lines. So the So let's talk about Casemiro. I mean, that man is hilariously good. I mean, he's literally slotted into life at the Premier League like a duck to water. He took his time. Yes, Ten Hag gave him the time required to bed into the surroundings, to take a fair assessment of things. But from the time he started, he's just grown in stature, he's just grown in confidence, and now we are finally seeing the best of Casemiro. I mean, in the game against Burnley in the Carabao, he was amazing as centre back, and now when he's back in his original position, once again he was absolutely majestic. I mean, we were been shouting for a midfielder, defensive midfielder for years, and I still can't believe that we got the pinnacle of defensive midfielders in our side. I mean, how insane is that, Sandeep bhai? What do you think about it?
So actually, when the Frankie De Jong saga was going on, and we saw here we go from Fabrizio for Casemiro, I was like, this is even better. Like we can have Christian Eriksen, we can have Bruno in the team, but a defensive midfielder is what we are crying out. I wish just what would have been if Paul Pogba was still here. I mean, he cried for a DM, CDM for entire of his career here. He had Nemanja Matic though, but still it was like Casemiro's levels and leaps and bounds above Nemanja Matic. I mean, five-time Champions League winner. It's just he's just too good for he has revolutionized our midfield. And I was seeing one stat today. Clean sheets kept last season was 10. Clean sheets kept so far this season was right now is 10. So I was just thinking that the introduction of Casemiro, I mean, he has prevented so many crosses. He has put stop build up of so many counter attacks or maybe attacks. And there is this one thing which Pep follows, that which is doing the early tackle. Doing it in the say, half of the opponent. He is so very good at breaking up play of the opponent. I mean, that is the place he comes in and just revolutionized our midfield. He's class. He's class. He's just a Rolls Royce of a CDM. And if I'm not wrong, if anybody would not disagree, he's the best CDM in the world right now. So I think we have been very blessed to get a CDM of his quality. 60 million maybe was feeling too much, but I think he has paid it back. And and one more thing, that about the game against Wolves, I think like the Wan Bissaka discussion which you were having, it was very interesting. Wan Bissaka, there is a redemption arc to this story, but I think it's just to increase his value till the summer market. I don't believe that we should be selling right now. Absolutely. And like he was injured, he did not have chance to show himself under Ten Hag, but I think Ten Hag does wonders to this team in training. I mean, so many people have blossomed under him. Rashford has been rejuvenated, and everyone is playing to their potential. Luke Shaw has had a redemption arc in this, so I would not. I would also want the other wing back to have a redemption arc.
Yeah, obviously we as United fans are always suckers for redemption, and who else to do it than Van Bissaka, or even so.
E- Even in summer, if we didn't have the pressure of generating funds, but I think one player who would have flourished in next 3 4 years must have been James Garner.
James Garner,
Like
absolutely, absolutely.
one player that I'm so, but it was, I think,
We could
need
have
of the hour
actually
that
we could
we
have
needed.
moved on Scott McTominay instead of James Garner. I
I
think he
don't
has.
think you guys will tell me with this. You guys will have the idea more about this, but I don't think McTominay can ever be a CDM.
He's a no.
For me, Scott McTominay is best when he's closer to the opposition goal.
Exactly.
The more further he is, the less effective he is on the overall proceedings of the game. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I totally agree with you, Ojisba, about the fact that Scott McTominay can never be a CDM, because his best ability is taking the ball and just moving into advanced positions and just put in that final ball, or maybe get a goal, or maybe nick a goal here and there.
He used to be a striker, if I'm not wrong.
I mean, in that way, when Wan-Bissaka used to be a winger, but what do we know? So that's there too. So yeah. So again, Amit Bhai says a tricky fixture, but we should win. Yes, the onus is on winning at the moment because at this point, even at this early in the season, it's not even halfway through. I cannot see us going anywhere if we keep losing points against teams like Wolves or Nottingham Forest for that
Uh,
matter. We have to keep taking 3 points every
look,
game.
if you guys are watching Wolves nowadays, like they don't have that spark that they used to have in last couple of seasons. Like something is missing. Like the midfield is sorted, Dendonker, Neves, and Moutinho, and they have that.
Dendonker is gone to Aston Villa, which is by. So
No, no,
Dendonker is not in
sorry,
Wolves anymore.
CDM. I'm forgetting the CDM.
It is Moutinho and Neves. They play two CDMs.
Yes,
They play
and
two
five.
midfields.
They play five at the back, right?
Correct. Yes.
They play five at the back, and they have like the midfield is sorted somehow, and but they still lack something. Like they don't look so dangerous right now. That either we are used to facing dangerous Wolves sides, but I don't think.
Exactly. That is that's what we feel because, like I said earlier on, that Wolves
We
is a
have
tricky
played them.
fixture.
I think we have played them 20 times in 5 years. I think.
Yeah, exactly. We played them a lot. Like every alternate game is a Wolves game. That's how it is. So welcome to the stream, Jihan. And Jihan says that 9 to 10 games need to be won in a row, and I totally agree with him. We need to go on a massive winning run if we have to keep pace. Consistency has to be maintained, and rightly so. Like Jihan said, to reach top levels. I mean, we need to keep winning, and once we keep winning, we have to not stop. That's the hallmark of a great team, and that's where we have to aspire to be by at least the midpoint of this season when it comes to Feb and all that stuff. So continuing about the game, let's talk a little bit more. I mean, let's talk about the Wolves side now. There are a few key players over there who we will have to be very careful about. One of them is, like Weber said, that's Hwang Chan, and and then there is another, the ultimate prince of the dark arts, the king of shithousery. That's Diego Costa. I mean, even though he does not he does not have the explosiveness that he used to have before, but then his physicality is enough to raise a few question marks in our defense. Even though our defense has become tougher and meaner with each passing game, Diego Costa has that ability to get into your skin or get into your nerves. So, Weber, let's start with you only. What do you make about the key men? Who do you think, as per you, will be the key men in that Wolves side if they want to press for a result?
Dylan, you talked about Diego Costa being physical and the ultimate shithouse, right? Well, Diego Costa should realize it's not the old Manchester United. You know, he's not facing the likes of Rojo and all these guys. He's gonna face against Licha. So if he tries to do his any sort of a thing, I can see Licha absolutely murdering him. You know, absolutely butchering him to pieces. I can just imagine that. So I think Diego Costa should just be a good boy and just stick to his game. And
Till
about
he
the
reaches, till he reaches Licha, there will be Casemiro.
Oh yes,
there'll be Casemiro. So I mean, if Diego Costa thinks he can just come in his flip flops and just dominate over United, it's not going to happen. I think the Wolves side is pretty good. As you said about the honeymoon period, right? A lot of times these managers tend to assess and tend to see which players they can trust and which players they can go forward with. But I still think Ruben Neves is going to be key. Ericsson, I mean, two continuous games back to back, relentless. You would want to give him a rest, right? You wouldn't want to play him for like entire 90 minutes in this game, right? And that could open a passage to sort of exploit United's midfield, right? We have seen in the past, how the likes of Fred and McTominay got stuffed, literally got stuffed. So I think in the second half, if it's a 0-0 situation in the half time, and if we go in the second half, and if Ericsson needs to come off, and we chuck in a Fred or a McTominay, I can see Wolves trying to creep back, because they've got Moutinho and they've got Ruben Neves, two very very good players, right? So they can exploit that area. Um, Look, in general, Wolves are a very tough side, but again, with this new manager, I'm forgetting his name, Lopatelli, right?
Lopetegui. Yeah.
Yeah, Lopetegui. Look, Lopetegui plays a very, very, I would say, he does not want to grind out the results, right? He
Much
would
more
look
technical than a
much more
classic Wolves team. Much more
yeah.
technical in that
He wouldn't,
aspect.
yeah, he wouldn't want to go for, he wouldn't be he wouldn't be happy with a 1-0, or he wouldn't take a 0-0 against a good team, right? If he sees an opportunity to score a goal, they would go for it, right? And because of that, because of that counter-attacking tactics, because Wolves is a mid-table team, the guy, the South Korean guy Huang, he becomes very, very dangerous, right? Raul Jimenez, I don't know if he's been consistent for Wolves this season or not, but he could be a very good option. If you get him off the bench, could be a very, very good option against the set pieces and all that.
I
Look,
mean,
I think,
it's all fun and games until each team comes up to face United. I mean, take Aston Villa for example. They had Emery playing their first game, and then all of a sudden, the first shot on target is a goal. So I mean, in spite of the fact that we are on a good run at the moment, I mean, I just can't get that thing out of the back of my head that Wolves are going to turn up. For sure, they're going to turn up.
see, I think it's Dylan. I think it's very, very tricky, right? Because we need to understand the situation of Eric Ten Hag here. He's not getting the players till now, right? We have a very, very. I mean, like Ojas Bhai mentioned, right? The quality is not there, right? Attacking options in Premier League, when you're having a relentless top four race, when you're in all four cups, you can literally win the Carabao Cup, because I mean, you do not have that tough opponents except City and perhaps Newcastle. You need to have those options up front, right? And I mean, it would be a dilemma if, Eric Ten Hag has to play his front three for entire 90 minutes, right? Because that can take a groove on the players, right? You want a fit and fresh Rashford. You want a fit and fresh, you know, want a fit and fresh Garnacho for that matter, right? But again, if we do not score in like the first 60 minutes, if it's a nil-nil or if you're 1-0 down, what do you do? Because you do not have that quality, right? Alanga has potential, but look, I think chucking the youngsters in or maybe chucking undercooked players is just not fair, right? They
Yeah,
would be getting the heat
Wait,
of the fans.
but
They would be
I
getting the
think
heat of the
Garnacho
fans.
can start. I think so. Garnacho can start. He will be a surprise for Wolves if
Yeah,
we
I
take
think
it that way.
I think he can start, right. But again, the fact that we are playing three games in a week, we need to see that our players remain fresh, right? Especially the attacking options, because we are very thin on attack. If you ask me, a Cody Yakpo could have been a blessing for us. Somebody who can play in all the three positions, and I was absolutely gutted. Honestly, I was gutted because he would have been a very, very perfect signing for us to compete in this top four race. So I
yeah,
think it's
exactly. And like you said about the game being very tricky, Webber, Jehan also addresses the fact that we've had a lot of trauma by the Wolves side over the past years. I mean, they have eliminated us from the League Cup, they've defeated us in the Premier League, they've managed to scrape results against us. But like you said, it is not the same. Like Ojas Bhai or Sandeep Bhai said, I think this is not the same Wolves side that we face compared to the sides of old. So even though they are last currently, we might be able to get past their defense. And even though the fact that Lopetegui is a technical manager, for Jihan, and I think I agree with Jihan on this, is that Costa doesn't know the meaning of technical. So even though he doesn't know the meaning of technical, I don't think we should be worried about him. So I don't think that's going to be much of a problem. Uh, Vishal Bhai says that in the past also and in this season as well, we have had trouble playing against teams at the bottom half, and most notably playing against teams who are suffering from relegation. I mean, we all know what happened while we were leading the table in the 2021 season. We lost to Sheffield, we drew to Fulham, and they were two of the three teams that ended up getting relegated that particular season, which effectively put pay to our hopes of maybe having a much more sustained run at the title challenge for that season. Then even last year we had trouble with the lower half of the teams. We drew with Burnley, we drew with Aston Villa, we kept on drawing with a lot of teams, and then we paid the price for that as well. So that has been a problem, but hopefully with Ten Hag this season we've not faced much of an issue. We've dispatched Nottingham Forest with ease, and we also got a comfortable result against Southampton as well. So Vishal Bhai says that we don't have players who can turn the table if we don't score in 50, 60 minutes. I think Ojas Bhai's point of Garnacho being there is one point against our favor, that he has the spark which will help us turn games in our favor in this game and in the games next as well. So Jihan says, let's talk about this. Jihan says the problem for Wolves is going to be Casemiro and Varane. Both are very controlled players and won't go easy on Wolves at all. These were the players we lacked. Now, similar to this, my question to you, Sandeep Bhai, is how important is the Casemiro and Eriksen versus the Moutinho and Neves battle of the midfield going to be? Because more or less, I think the entire game is going to be defined by these four players in the middle of the park. With Casemiro there to shield and Eriksen there to conduct. I think it's the same case with Ruben Neves and Moutinho, where Neves is the proverbial destroyer and Moutinho is the orchestrator for that side. So, how big is this battle in the context of the game? And do you believe that the winner of this battle will be a major factor in contributing the winner for the match in general?
So it's going to be a very interesting battle, and I think Christian Eriksen for this game is I think physicality might be a factor for Christian Eriksen in the Wolves game, because he might be outdone because of physicality. Okay, he has a vision to see the passes and everything. He has the vision. He's an amazing chance creator, but I think the physicality will come into question in this game against Wolves, because as we know, Wolves are a very physical team. They are the proper Premier League physicality kind of a team, which gets mentioned when Premier League and physicality gets mentioned. So I think Christian Eriksen and his physicality would be a tricky part. Casemiro will end up destroying everyone around him. I think, be it Moutinho, be it Costa, be it Ruben Neves, everyone he will end up destroying. And this new triangle which we have of Varane, Martinez, and Casemiro, most of our games were lost here last season when it was McTominay, Maguire, and Lindelof. This Bermuda Triangle kind of a thing has been replaced by the, what to say, the the best triangle you can think of. The worst triangle you can think of is the Bermuda Triangle. The best triangle you can think of, whatever it is, it's been replaced by that. So the games won't get lost in that triangle because of the Martinez, Varane, and Casemiro being in absolutely lovely form, and the Christian Eriksen and Moutinho and Neves and Casemiro part of it. I think Casemiro, because of his, let's say, ultra physicality, will edge out Moutinho and Neves, and I think it will be a very determining factor when the teams will be I think there will be a lot of counter attacks in this game, because both Eric Ten Hag wants to be proactive and everything, but as we saw last day also, I think the second goal which we created was kind of a counter attack, because Casemiro, tackled at the very end, and Bruno just put it forward for Rashford and a beautiful touch and chopped it in for Martial. So I think there will be a lot of counter attacks, and I think Casemiro will edge out the Wolves' defense in breaking up the plays, as I said earlier. So I think there the battle would be won by our midfield, and I think it will not be an easy cakewalk victory. I must say, but I think we should get over the challenge, and we will. I don't think we'll concede. I don't think we'll concede, because our
That's
defense has been
that's
top notch.
that's a that's a pretty strong claim coming from the same set of fans who used to fear for our lives in the previous games whenever we
Absolutely,
used to play.
absolutely.
So that's a massive confidence boost for us, that we're
That
talking about
that,
being able to
that
successfully
triangle,
keep clean sheets.
that triangle of the CDM and the two defenders has been,
You could say that this is the Bermuda Triangle for oppositions. A
yeah, kind of, kind
much
of,
better way to put it.
kind of, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Ojas bhai, there is a very interesting proposition put by Jehan in the chat. I'll put that to you as well. So Jehan says that he does not feel that there should be any changes to be done in the starting 11 for the game against Wolves, except maybe one. That is where Garnacho comes in for Anthony. So Garnacho will start from the left. Martial will play through the center, and maybe Rashford through the right. And apart from that, he feels that the entire team should be the same who played against Forest. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that is this the change that you want as well, or do you want Garnacho to start for someone else in place for him to start. Like, I personally feel that maybe Garnacho could be given the nod, but for me, the player who will be going out is a much more confusing proposition, because we have to make sure that Anthony Martial is kept fit and healthy for as long as possible, because for now he's our only striker, and the moment he gets injured, which has been the case more often than not this season, automatically the paucity of striking options comes to bite us in the back.
Yeah.
So, do you think that Anthony to Garnacho should be the change, or do you think that Garnacho could slot in for someone else?
Uh, like, sorry, my connection got broke. Is my voice clear?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. Continue, please
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah. See, resting Anthony doesn't make any sense for me. Like, Anthony can play. He has just come off from the World Cup. He was not playing our last couple of games that Manchester United played before the World Cup. I think he needs a run of games to get back into the confidence. What I believe is Rashford moves to the center of the pitch, and Garnacho comes at the left side. My only reason for this is that we have to understand that Premier League teams, or whichever whatever the top teams that we play, they really get into what the opposition is planning. So just to add that surprise element, it can backfire also, but at least it should not be a situation where we didn't try. So, like, adding Garnacho is a very good surprise element for a team like Wolves, and I think so he Garnacho can be the impact player, and if given the opportunity at the right time, he can become a permanent fixture around that position. So we have to trust a youngster, and we have to trust that players like Marshall, those are injury prone, they have to be covered because it's a long season. And just one point about Wolves is that although they won't get past Casemiro, Varane, and Licha, but the problem is Ruben Neves and Moutinho don't need to come close to the box of the opposition. They're like they can create the impact outside the box also. So we have to be mindful of that also. Like, long shots of Neves, or that beautiful pass that Moutinho played in the last game for the left winger. So Prudence, I think it was Prudence, and that way also we have to understand that our midfield has to cover those players, not only Licha, Casemiro, and Varane, just to stop those shots, because that can also be a difference in the 90 minutes.
Fair enough, Ojas Bhai. So, Jihan also says that he's pretty confident about United's ability to eke out a clean sheet, and says that United will end up winning the game 3-0. And he also says that Ruben Neves has not been the same because of the fact that he's been suffering from quite a few injuries and so on and so forth. Uh, so, Mudit Bhai, I'll come to you. Jihan has another opinion. He's been very active in the chat. Shout out to you, Jihan. Thanks for joining the stream, and keep up your opinions. Would love to have you on stream sometime as well. Mudit Bhai, the question. So he says that Garnacho has to be well groomed and has to be kept on the ground at all times, basically. And we've already seen that Bruno and Ten Hag have gone on record to, speak about Garnacho to keep his head in the right place. And even Ten Hag earlier said that, he wanted a little more from Garnacho when it came from the time the preseason started. So how important it is to keep such a precocious talent like Garnacho, his feet on the ground, and make sure that he's doing all the right things at the right time and be at the right place whenever required. Because there has to be a level of care and concern taken, because as we say that Garnacho is still a child. He's only 18. And how important it is to keep him grounded, to not let the success get into his head.
I think protecting young players has always been dependent on how the manager sees the academy. Like every manager that has come here has appreciated the academy, but maybe except Van Gaal, none of them have kind of used the academy to its full potential. Uh, I mean, Van Gaal did. He did with McTominay. He did with many other players. So he brought in
Rashford.
Yeah. So with Garnacho, my opinion is sometimes a player does not need protection. He's probably meant to just open his wings and fly. I I see Garnacho someone like that to a certain extent, but eventually he would need to kind of understand what Ten Hag is trying to get out of him, and that will change from time to time because he's a youngster. He will be tried in multiple positions. He will be tried in multiple tactics and multiple formations, and that is something which will define him in the role that he used to take once he turns 22, 23. You know, because Rashford, even if you look at Rashford, his role has kept changing from time to time. He's neither remained a proper number 9. He's neither remained a proper number 10. He's neither remained a winger, but he's doing good in whichever position he's playing. But he does not have a set position. We may define it, we see it in games, but would you call Rashford a proper number 9? Would you call Rashford a proper winger? Would you call Rashford a proper number 10? No, because he kind of does the job in all of these places. For Garnacho, I want to see some consistency in one position.
Fair
That,
enough.
yeah, and that will see him grow more.
And I think, like Jehan said, that Ten Hag is the perfect player, to make sure that he's not flexible. And, just like you said, he at this point in his career, it doesn't have to be a case of jack of all trades, but he has to be a master of one. So I think, and maybe Ten Hag is the right person to make sure that he is a regular in that position as well. So yeah, I think, and talking about the players to be well groomed and to be made sure that feet is on the ground. Jehan gives an example of Lingard, where he was great, he had the talent, he had the potential, but to a certain extent, he did not have the discipline, and which is why we see him where he is today, which could be considered a fair assessment, but I think people might have different opinions on this. So let's just keep to the fact that
I mean, see, did you ever see Lingard and say, "Oh, damn, that's the best player we had from the academy in the last 6-7 years"? When
no,
he
not
came,
really. No, not really.
that's it then.
Fair enough. Yeah. So Manish Anand asks, I think we shall all give our 2 cents on this. Manish Anand is asking that is it obvious by now that there won't be any January recruitments at Old Trafford? I mean, let me keep it real with you, Chief. I don't see any recruitments happening unless it is a
If
loan.
if if the Glazers are selling up in the summer, there won't be any signings. If the Glazers are not selling up in the summer, there won't be any signings.
Simple. So I think the only way we might get a player is via the loan market, and I don't see a lot of very good options in the loan market as well. The one big option which is like hitting our eyes is the obvious one, which is the most expensive loan option. So that seems to be the case for the transfer window. So Monish, I would advise you to just keep your hopes down in this January window, for this January window at least, considering the fact that the entire
Imagine we sign a player on loan and that too turns out to be an expensive loan. I mean,
worst case, that expensive loan signing gets injured the very next day for the entire season. There goes your transfer window and your transfer outlay for January. So yeah, Monish, just keep your hopes down. Like Jan said, keep no hopes.
Memphis on loan, Memphis on free.
I don't mind getting Memphis on loan. I've always made my opinion very clear that I would for one love to have Memphis on board again, because he's not the same player that he was with us when he joined. That brash, arrogant youth is now just fully transformed into a matured man, and there is an article about him in the Athletic, that explains how he made the changes. He's openly spoken about the fact that he used to blame others for his mistakes at United, but then later on there came a point where he decided that the blame has to be put on me, and I think it's there for everyone to see that he's become a well matured and a well-rounded individual. I mean, you could see his dedication in the Netherlands. I mean, you could see that he was there for the side when needed. It was not like he jumped ship whenever the chips were down. He was one of the biggest voices on the side against Argentina in the quarterfinal as well, rallying his troops. And then That is how it should be. So I don't mind if we get Memphis on loan.
Yeah,
He
I think he should mutually end his contract with Barca and be a free agent, because right now what will happen is getting Memphis on loan is, if somehow there is a very good performance that puts up, Barca suddenly becomes that one annoying club which manipulates with other clubs. So uh, I think if anything can happen in this window, we are not sure about that, but Memphis, we can crack a deal somehow that we get him to sign the paper of just mutually agreeing a closure and signing for even for 6 months. There are contracts nowadays signed for 6 months. Get
Oba Oba
this,
Oba for
yes,
Barca, the initial contract was a six
yes,
month deal.
yeah. Just get into the club as as a proper Manchester United player. Just become that influence, the leadership qualities that you have shown for the Netherlands, and have a positive impact on every player around you, and be the deal breaker between a very poor uh, season that we can potentially have to a very good season that we can potentially have.
Fair
So
enough. Yeah, yeah.
so like, it can happen, but again, I
Look,
see
yeah,
see what
just
what people are forgetting about Felix is that, like Devlin also said, that injury is something that revolves around him. That is true. But what we are also not thinking about, that there will never be a buy option on Felix, because the Atletico board is smart enough to cash on players. They know how to
Yeah, the
brand the
loan
player.
is basically an obligation after the loan. So
Yeah.
that could be a huge stumbling block, because I don't see the need for Felix on a long term basis in our side. I do not see a player of his profile. Basically, what we need basically is an out and out number nine. We need an out and out number nine who can score.
Even Memphis is not an out and out number nine.
But
But
for
the
now, for the
difference
short term, we can make do, because
difference of maturity is there. Difference of maturity
exactly
is there.
correct.
And difference of an idea of what Atletico is trying to do. Atletico is very cunningly trying to put Felix only on loan, so that he displays his qualities on the market and sell him for a very good price, or just keep him and use him till it's an 8-year contract, guys. It's an 8-year
Hmm.
contract.
Exactly
It's
correct.
not even a 5-year contract. It's an 8-year contract. It's not like Felix is going to be a free agent next season. It's a very long contract. So we have to really think what Atletico is planning. And for once, I think we are smart enough of not pushing the Felix deal.
Correct. So Jehan came up with a very interesting piece of trivia, and I think it's time that we start believing this, because if it worked for Argentina in the World Cup, I think it's damn well sure could be working for us. So there's a little bit of cricket and football mix. So the last time Rahane, Stokes, and Dhoni played together, United won the Carabao Cup and Europa League, which was in 2017. And guess what? Rahane, Stokes, and MSD are going to play again together in 2003, and we are in both competitions as we speak. So I think if such superstitions work for Argentina, then I'm pretty damn sure that one of them could at least work for us. So yeah,
I'm
I'm
still
all in.
laughing how we got Charlton. I'm still laughing at that.
I think they thought that we were Man City for once,
That
and
was reserved for Man. They gave it to the wrong Manchester.
exactly. I think they finally understood that Manchester's red, and they gave us a favorable draw for once. And let's hope that we make it to the semi-finals, and then have a genuine run at the trophy. So Mudit bhai, Weber, Ojis bhai, let's talk about Sancho. Now, uh, we are as clueless as each other to know the whereabouts of Sancho currently. All we know is that he's on an individual training program for both his physical and his mental fitness to. And it is pretty obvious that Eric Ten Hag is defending Sancho with whatever he has to make sure that he gets back the same blistering teenage Tyro who set the Bundesliga on fire with his rare blend of the street smarts when it comes to football, his dribbling, and his penchant to pick out that pass. I mean, Jadon Sancho at Dortmund was a spectacle. Let's be honest about the fact. So uh, we know about the what. we don't know about why. So let us just go into depth. Like, what exactly is the problem with Sancho? Do you think it is a mental problem when it comes to attitude, where his head is not in the right place for some reason or the other, which you don't know about, or is it because he's still not able to take the fact that he wasn't even considered for selection as far as the national team is concerned? Because he started the season very well, the goal against Liverpool. He was there. He scored against Leicester as well before the first international break, but then he was not picked up for the Nations League squad. Do you think that has something to it, or much more deeper than that? And do you think that when Sancho comes back, will we see the Bundesliga Sancho, or is it still going to be some way off? Mujibba, I'll start with you.
Okay, I think this is a phase every player goes through. Just because it's a 100 million player, we are kind of focusing a lot on it. I sound like ETH, but yeah. Anyway, so so it's just that he's since he's come here, uh, he's been good for some games, but he's completely withered off in the rest. And apart from a goal here and there, he's 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 trying to build up play. He's trying to adjust into ETH's system, but I don't see him kind of giving it everything. That's the thing I've observed. I don't see him being 100%. That could be relating to his fitness. That could be relating to any injuries. That could be relating to his mental health, which is absolutely his right to kind of take it forward the way he wants to. And it's kind of good that he's been sidelined. If it's if it's relating to his mental health, it's good that he's been sidelined for some time so he can get his head sorted. It's something that it's not spoken about a lot in the game, and it's great that it's happening. I mean, it's of course unlucky for him, but it's great that it's happening at our club by being done by our manager. If it is indeed something that could be termed as a situation in which he's not mentally fine. Why he's not mentally fine could be due to whatever happened at the Euros, like 2 years back. It could be a build-up of so many things, you know. Uh, but the fact remains that he's a great player. We know what he can do on the field and what he can do with the ball. But maybe we should be giving some time off, or like some time off radar to certain players, especially those who are young, to kind of adjust to the mental conditions that they're facing. That's all I think about it.
Fair enough. So, like Abhijit said, Sancho will be back. It's just a bad phase. Keep faith. Yeah, fair enough. Bad phase, like Mudibhai says, happens to each and every player. And coming to the fact that ETH has been backing him, Jehan says that he trusts Ten Hag blindly, and the man has a spark in his eyes, and he's very clear in what he wants, and gives no excuses, and he wants everything to happen in the right way and the right path. And that is how things should be done. And finally, we are seeing that manifest right before. So overall, it's been
If
good.
the Glazers sell up, ETH is automatically a club legend.
Exactly.
The extent of it is too much. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there is also a certain Portuguese who would take credit for this. I'll not take his name because, yeah, you could say that too. So I think we could remember him for, we could call him as one of the binding reasons for it as well. But yeah, that's a topic for another day. For now, let us focus on the field as well. So with Lisandro Martinez coming in, our centre back pairing picks itself. It's back to having two World Cup winners on our side. Uh, not a lot of times you can say that United have a World Cup winning defensive centre back pairing, and all in all, it's a rather settled looking team. I don't think a lot of changes need to be made. Uh, so, what do you think? What are your predictions for this game? Webb already said that this is going to be a 2-0 win for United. Sandeep Bhai said that he does not see Man United conceding. Mudit Bhai, what do you think is going to be your predictions for the game?
We won't concede and we'll score a lot.
With the confidence that we are saying, this is something that we've just found out, right? Like, ऐसे भी होता है, हम भी clean sheet रख सकते हैं.
There is a reason for it. I think we'll pick up perform incredibly well in the new year, and it's going to be an insane season. Let's not discredit what this team can do when they hold the ball properly in midfield. With
Exactly.
Casemiro, what I've seen with Casemiro this week, he
That
could be
man
the
is hilariously good. I mean, it's just absurd the way he
he
gets
could
things
be,
done. I mean,
he could
just
be the
impeccable.
reason we should start dreaming by.
Exactly. I swear. Otis, by what do you think? What is your predictions for the game?
Mm. Like, uh, I'm not gonna completely bank on a clean sheet, but it's like at Manchester United, we find new ways of conceding a goal always, and but I think there is a positivity around the team that we can get the result. And Wolves are, although we can say a honeymoon period, but what I saw the glimpses of them is that they have the spirit, but right now they don't have the quality. They have the spirit.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So
So,
they have the spirit. Sorry, but again my internet went. And just before we end this, one more point on Sanchez. Like I love Gakpo as a player. Like he's a very good player. But sometimes on the internet, I don't understand few things that we were so desperate to get Gatko. We should have been desperate to get Gatko because he's a very good addition to the already very good side that we have. But we cannot forget Sancho during this bad phase. We have Rashford and Sancho on wings, Anthony on wings, and Garnacho on wings. So it would have been a disrespect saying that we don't have the players. That is why we need Gakpo. We needed Gakpo for some other reason altogether. And right now, whatever Sancho is going through, I know it's tough, but everyone who has seen the period when we needed that player is going to be a very important player if he gets through this phase. And I guess even a title winning team in coming years will consist of Jadon Sancho.
fair enough, and that's a very bold prediction. And just like the true United fan I am, I'm totally going to be on board with this prediction. Ojas bhai, I'm with you all the way. So Vaibhav, I'll come to you. It's been a long time since you're silent, and let's talk about this. Speaking about loans, Jehan says there have been reports that we've been linked to Morata for a loan, and he is as as close to a number 9 that we want at the moment. I mean, if there is a chance, should we get him on a short-term loan? What are your thoughts on it? I mean, it's not about the fact that we need a striker. We need a striker who can score. So just keep that in mind. And what do you think? Do we go for Morata?
Look, if it's nothing or Morata, then yes, we can go for Morata. Look, I've seen Odion Igalo as coming as a loan. So I mean, we've had our expectations very very low. So yeah, I mean, Morata is not a bad player, but then
Shall I
again,
give a stat? Sorry to interrupt.
yeah, sure.
So Alvaro Morata has scored the most goals only in the seasons that he's been on loan.
Well, well,
See,
well.
see, I think he's not a
Hola,
bad
Morata.
player. He's not a bad player, but then look, if we have an option of getting a Sancho, I mean, we have an option of getting a Memphis, right? I, Look, personally, I wouldn't mind Morata, but I would prefer a Memphis.
Fair
There
enough.
is one goal against Manchester United Morata scored. That was the only goal of the game. And I remember that leap and I will remember that leap for my lifetime.
It
Where
was it was
De
the
Gea
United
stood
Chelsea
still.
game.
It was the day first time I saw De Gea stood still. De Gea couldn't do anything about that header. And somehow Morata, with that added influence in the air, he's a very good player. I'm not saying that I just love him and I want him on the team, but you have to fix sometimes with a temporary bandage before the main fix comes. So, yes, there's nothing to lose, but nothing much to gain, I guess.
So, so the Wolves game is just a start. We have a very crucial January coming in ahead of us. We face Man City, we face Arsenal, we face. We have to be on our top game every single game from the new year onwards. I mean, We cannot afford to have another 6-3 mauling in this part of the season, because our goal difference as it is in single digits. While we are strong at the back, we've not had the same number of goals, but we have to be at the top of our game. So, I mean, the Wolves game, in many ways than once, is a very, very, very important game for us as far as the result is concerned, as well as the race for the top four is concerned as well. With the likes of Barca waiting for us in the Europa playoffs, and then we have a lot of tricky potential banana skin fixtures as well in January. We have the FA Cup that we'll have to play. I think we even have the quarterfinal in January, right? If I'm not mistaken, against Charlton. Yeah, so there are a lot of games that we have to play, and we have to make sure that the entire team is on. Ojasbai looks like Yashraj Mukherjee. All right. I mean, yeah, sure. Why not? Ponta.
And,
And
Devlin bhai, there is only 1 week gap between January 25th, I guess, to February 2nd, that there is a break for the players. It's
yes,
full of fixtures for a team that has qualified for the knockout rounds of, like every round is a knockout round, but later stages of League Cup and FA Cup.
and
Like
also
it's
also
playoff round.
we have two postponed games in the first half of the season
Yes.
as well, against Crystal Palace and against Leeds. So add those two games, and this is one hell of a nightmare for us as far as fixture congestion is concerned. So, with that being said, we've spoken everything there is to be about the game against Wolves, against the scenario in January, how our team is being prepared, how the manager is going on with things. With that being said, I'm going to ask for the first goal scorer from United. Who's going to be the one who will score the opening goal for United? Weber, what do you think?
Bruno Fernandes.
Mudit bhai, what about you?
Bruno
Watch
penalty.
connection.
What about you? Bruno penalty? Oh, all right. And Ojis bhai, what about you?
Anthony.
Anthony. All right. I'll go for Martial. Drippy Martial. I score Martial if he starts. So let's hope. With that being said,
We can all be wrong, and it can be Garnacho.
could be Casemiro too. Let's see. With that being said, we are here. We come to the end of our stream. It was a great time talking to you, gentlemen. Thank you so much to all of you all on the chat. Monish bhai, Jehan, Rohit bhai, Abhijit bhai, everyone. Thank you so much for putting in your opinions. It was great fun to understand things from your point of view as well. Vishal bhai as well. Special thanks to each and everyone. Guys, do show your love by liking, sharing, and subscribing our page. We keep on posting such content like this, and we will be coming on with much more content than this. Do show us love on our socials. We are available on Instagram and Twitter. And I say this on every stream, and I will say this again, that every day is match day on our official WhatsApp group. We all are present on that, and you do not want to miss a chance to hop in on that as well. There's also a United website which you would want to see and get things done. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can check out there. With that being said, this is Delvin along with Mudit bhai, Weber, and Mojis bhai saying good night to all of you all. Do take care of yourselves, and we shall see you around very, very soon. Thank you so much.
Ciao.